Hello, everyone. I believe that we can start. Welcome to our Flex Your BIMx webinar. We hope that you will hear new information about BIMx and also maybe hear some news about BIMx as well. With me today, I have several other colleagues. So let me present. There is Zsolt Onczak, who will guide you through how to start with BIMx. So for all of you who are new to BIMx and haven't used it before, this is going to be a great opportunity to hear how can you actually set up, how to export your model from Archicad and what are all the necessary steps. It's very easy, and I believe that with Zsolt guiding you through all the steps, it's going to be even easier to start. We have Link Ellis presenting you one use case of how to use BIMx in interior design project. With us today is Marin Racic from Croatia, who is our Graphisoft distributor for Croatia, but who is also practicing architect, and he's bringing very interesting examples of use cases of BIMx from practice. Then we have Roland Sabo from Graphisoft, who will show you some sneak peeks into new features. Last on the agenda for today is Rubia Torres from Graphisoft community team. I believe that you could see her on our Graphisoft community, especially in all activities regarding Graphisoft community challenges. And Rubia will give you more details about Flex Your BIMx community challenge that is ongoing and how you can apply. I believe that for today, our program agenda is most suitable for those who are getting to know BIMx, but with the practical examples that we are going to bring you today and with the sneak peek into new features, I'm hoping that it will be also interesting for all of you who are long-term users of Archicad and BIMx. At the end, we'll have some time for the questions and answers. So for our participants, you can ask any question. So my name is Gordana Radonic. I'm community manager. This was my introduction. And I will now let Zsolt Onczak to present you how to start with BIMx.
Thank you very much, Gordana. Welcome, everyone. My name is Zsolt Onczak, and let's take a look at first. I want to cover what is BIMx. So some of you might heard this word BIMx, but don't really know what it is. So just a quick recap about what it is. We can think of BIMx as a really accessible tool to present your architectural project to anyone involved in the design or in the planning or in sharing the project, such as your clients, contractors, lead designers, and others. And the idea is to make it very easily accessible to everyone, so they don't have to own an expensive design tool or anything like that. Just they can see their design, what's being prepared for them. So to better understand how BIMx works, let's take a look at the BIMx hypermodel concept. So the hypermodel is something that we put inside BIMx, and we can present our design with the help of the hypermodel. So why do we call it a hypermodel? Because it has a 3D model, a 3D geometry. You can imagine that you can go around this 3D model. You are must be already familiar with this, but it also includes 2D documentation. So and the architect is in control of what documentation is to be included. So you can include your elevation sections, floor plans, details, etc. Plus, as you know, BIM a building information model always carries some valuable information with it. And the I in BIM is for information, which is also included, or it can be included in the BIMx hypermodel. So everything what's in your project can basically be included in the hypermodel, and all those elements are interconnected. There are hyperlinks between those, so hence the name hypermodel, because it has everything inside, and the connections are live, and they are preserved from your architectural project. And then you will see that you can do with these items, you can do a lot more within BIMx. So let's quickly take a look at the workflow in a simplified way. So first you have your architectural design, your project in Archicad. So you take that design and then you save it. Or in other words, in architecture terminology, we usually say we publish that file in a BIMx format. That's a special extension created for the BIMx application, and that's what we call a BIMx hypermodel. So a .BIMx file is going to be exported from Archicad, and that's what we call a BIMx hypermodel. And from that point, we can take this model and open it on a computer, open it on our mobile device, or open it on any device basically that can run a suitable browser, because BIMx, uh, we also have for BIMx a web viewer. So the BIMx application is available on all these platforms. And what is BIMx really good for? Again, just to reiterate and see some examples, it's good for visualization. We can take a look around. It's good for presentation, so you can very easily take your project, grab an iPad, take your project to the client, plug it into a screen or TV, and then you're ready to present it with prepared viewpoints. And then it's also good for communication and collaboration, because you will see that BIMx also has some tools for communication within the team. And then it can be used for project coordination, checking lists, maybe double checking elements on site, on construction, if everything goes well, because again, this is not just 3D geometry and not just 2D presentation drawings. It also carries valuable information that you can use for project coordination. So take a look, an example of how you would visualize an architectural document for a client. You can see that these connections between a section and the 3D model are preserved, and there's a seamless transition. So it's really it's really easy to understand the spaces for even those who are not very familiar with architecture design or engineering. They can already see and very well receive the spaces showing these seamless transitions. And furthermore, you can select elements, you can take a look at all the information they contain, and you can also take measurements within the 3D model. So the whole navigation between the 3D, 2D, and the information is very convenient. And then you can also, as I already mentioned, you can use it for communication. And this is just um, a demonstration of how a teamwork project, so we can imagine an architecture office where there are several people working on several Archicad units, and they are working in a teamwork environment. And one of them goes to the side, and they can bring a tablet with them, and on which they have a BIMx application. And with that BIMx application, they can basically join in the same project. And from that point, they can establish a communication channel and share messages back and forth. and not just messages, because you will see how this workflow works in practice. So again, someone on site, they or someone during a client presentation, they realize that okay, we need to make this window bigger. They can go ahead, select this window in BIMx. They can select the architect, the designer, and then they can make comments. They can say that maybe, okay, we need to make this window a bit bigger, just to see a simple example. And once they compose the message, they can even go further and add annotations. So they can they can sign which direction they want this window to be bigger, and then they send it to the teamwork project in Archicad. And now we are in Archicad, and that's how it seems like from inside the Archicad teamwork project. So the architect can immediately see that they receive the message. They can click on the show elements even in the message pop-up window, and they will be navigated to that particular window that's the subject of this change. And then they can already start working on those changes, and then they can send the message back to the site that okay, these changes are done, and they can do this messaging back and forth, so it's very convenient. Okay, now with that, we saw what BIMx is capable of. So let's quickly just see a recap how to publish a BIMx file from Archicad. Basically, there are two main methods, but you will see that at the end, um, if you use either of those methods, the end will be that you will create a BIMx publisher set. So inside Archicad, in the navigator, in the publisher sets tab, you can create a BIMx publisher set, and you can include different items into that publisher set. These items can be 3D models. The important thing to mention here is that you can not only include one 3D model, you can include multiple ones as well. So maybe you have an architectural view, 3D view, and you have a structure, a 3D view. And if you place those into the publisher set, then both views of the same project will be exported. So it's just something interesting to mention. You can, of course, select all the 2D documentation, and then you also have control over what kind of information you want to include in the hypermodel. And at the end, all of those items will be included in the hypermodel. So let's take a quick look how it looks inside Archicad. So if you already know how to create publisher sets, you know that there's this plus button. You can create a new publisher set. You can name it BIMx or whatever name you'd like. And in the publisher set properties, you need to make sure that one option is the save files. And once you have the save files option selected, you have a couple of options. So you can upload it to your BIM cloud storage space, or you can save it regularly to your local computer. Or if you use this local save method to a synced cloud folder on your PC, then basically you can immediately save to an external cloud service. And in this little highlight here, you can see inside BIMx that when you import models, you can select from those most popular cloud services uh, which are synced with your local folder. So that's a possibility. And the other thing to make sure is that you have the create single file option selected, because in that case, you can select the BIMx hypermodel format. And the other publishing method is to upload a BIMx hypermodel. And in that case, if you are signed in to your Graphisoft ID account in Archicad, then you can upload BIMx hypermodels directly to the transfer site. So what a transfer site is, just again, to have a better understanding, This is the BIMx.graphisoft.com with what we call a BIMx transfer site, and you can upload directly from Archicad, just as you saw from the publishing options. And it hosts BIMx models only. So you can explore the model with the BIMx web viewer. So the BIMx transfer site, it features an embedded web viewer, no need to install any additional application. And you can download and open uh, your BIMx projects on your mobile device as well. And the mobile device will automatically see that if you download the BIMx file and you have a BIMx application, then it will automatically open those for you. And from the transfer side, you can share your projects, and you can also set the visibility of the BIMx model. And this is how Hyper model looks like on the web. So you can see the name of the project, you can download the BIMx applications. So if you send this link to your client, they will see this page and they can either click on the play button in the middle and they can already start exploring the model, or they can download the BIMx application for free and they can go from there. They can download the model and see the project for themselves. If you want to learn more about how to publish, or you want to be confident about your BIMx methods, you can take this free foundation level course on the Learn portal. So Graphisoft, learn.graphisoft.com. You can find this Share Your Archicad Project with BIMx course, which is a really quick course, a bit more detailed than this presentation. And if you want to know all the nitty-gritty details of publishing, how to optimize your model in Archicad to get the best results in BIMx, you can also take an advanced level course, which is also available on the portal. Both of these courses are included in the BIM Author program, which is a wider program covering all aspects of Archicad, so you can check it out for yourself. I recommend to take a look. And with that, I'd like to thank you very much and let me hand the mic back to Gordana.
Thank you very much, Jolt. This was very insightful explanation of how to start using BIMx and the information where you can also learn more about it. It was very useful. Thank you very much. One more reminder that please type in the chat and leave any comment or a question, because at the end we will be reading out your questions for the Q&A session. In our next part, Link Alice from US, who maybe a lot of you who are long-term community members, you probably know Link very well because he's one of our very active users on Graphisoft community for many years. This time he will be presenting us one interior design project, Alice interior design project, and I believe this is going to be a good insight not only into how to use Archicad and BIMx, but you will get a great sneak peek into an interior design project made in Archicad. So let's hear out Link.
Hi everyone. In this presentation, I'd like to showcase the work of Alice Interior Design here in Idaho, USA. They specialize in high-end residential and work with Archicad architects and designers. So let's start in Archicad to see how they set up their BIMx related features. Their template has 100 pre-placed cameras for them to select from. They take these cameras and move them into place throughout the model. The camera path is cloned in the view map, so they rename the views according to each room they represent. Here are a few examples, and we'll see these in action a little later in BIMx. In addition to pre-made cameras, their template has hundreds of pre-made detail markers. These are made to look like labels, and if we open one, we'll see they have placed a PDF of the tear sheet information for the item it is associated with. This is then placed on a dedicated layout sheet. Let's switch to BIMx and see how these features are used. Once the project is loaded and we open a 3D view, we can tap the book icon and then switch to the gallery. Then we can enter presentation mode and hit the play button. BIMx will walk through the project from gallery view to gallery view, pausing briefly at each one. This is great for client presentations when you want to control the path and flow. We can pause, jump forward or back, and even stop to look around. Alice Interior Design also embeds information into essential elements. For renovation projects, they can embed a link back to the original scanned view of the element. And this is great for comparing the before and the after. For a bit of fun, they hide Easter eggs in their projects, like the skull in the oven or a skeleton in a closet. Back to business though, they also embed a link to the tear sheet, which is stored in one of their project-specific Dropbox folders. This way, they can control the data. But best of all, the tear sheet information is stored directly in the project. If we return to the floor plan to where our detail marker labels are, we can tap on any one and open it. The linked tear sheet will open directly in BIMx. We can navigate back to the floor plan and select another. All of the information is in the BIMx file, and there are an extensive number of markers throughout, including in the interior elevations. Another feature they like to take advantage of, since they are signed into the Teamwork project through their BIM Cloud SaaS, is the ability to send notes and ideas back to the team in Office. Suggestions or ideas can be quickly marked up in BIMx, and notes and even photos can be added and then sent to the relevant team members. Back in Archicad, the message comes through instantly, where the markups can be viewed and the view applied. These are some of the favorite features used by Alice Interior Design, but of course there are many more being showcased today. I hope that was insightful. Thanks.
Thank you both, Link and Elizabeth, for showing us this very interesting interior design project. We are very happy to have Marin here with us as well today. Marin is one of the long-term users that I mean, from all the users of Graphisoft product, he is one of the people that I personally know the longest, and he always brings very interesting examples to all his presentations. So I'm very excited to announce Marin, who will show you not just one but several projects from their daily practice. Marin.
Thank you, Gordana. Just to set the record straight, I'm not 100 years old, so I may be experienced user, but not. Maybe you get the wrong impression what Gordana said. So anyway,
I just
as
said
Shane
a
was,
user that I know the longest.
yeah, yeah, okay. I'm an architect enthusiast for a lot of years, and also practicing architecture through a separate architectural studio. So I'm going to show you um, a few projects we did and how we use BIMx in different ways. Now you've seen detailed ways how to how to use, and it can be really detailed and it can be really simple. So let me start. First project I'm going to show its interior design. It's just one apartment, but it was a high-end apartment. It was rather detailed in design and modeling. And for presentation, we basically used BIMx. In the end, we did some renders, but BIMx was the primary tool to show the client how the future space will look like. So let me switch to BIMx. Okay, as you can see, it's everything is very detailed. So we pay attention to really try to show how the space will look like with all the materials, all the furniture, all the textures and colors, and even okay pictures on the wall. Maybe not that much, but the rest is there. So if we design the furniture, we make a model out of it. If we choose a typical product, we make sure that we either download the object and put it in the model, or maybe model it on our own, just to make a very realistic way of showing how it's going to look like. I'm going to go through a few slides just to show you the spaces and what we did. For example, here in the kitchen, all the doors of the cabinets were modeled separately because this is not exactly available in the library. But of course, we make it look as good as it can get. The corridor, and then of course the bedroom. As you can see, everything is very detailedly modeled. Let's go further to the other room. This is a studio and exercise room. So a good way for the client to make sure that they know what they're going to get. Okay, this is, I would say, maybe a typical interior design project. But the first use of BIMx we had was totally different. It was for two residential buildings. We did about 10 years ago here in Rijeka, in my hometown. That was the breakthrough project for our office, MR2. These were the most expensive buildings in Rijeka at that time. They look pretty simple, like cubes, but they're really not, because they're not two walls which are the same on the inside. So I'm just showing you a few photos, what they look like when they were built. But the BIMx model was different. It was rather simple, because when the building started, we delivered, of course, all the documentation, all the construction drawings to the building site. But there were a lot of questions, since all the interior loading walls were different. How does this look like? How does that look like? And so on. So what we did, we just saved a rough BIMx model of the load-bearing structure, and that's what you see now here. This is just concrete, and it's rough and dirty. You see some mistakes up on the roof. Not everything is connected 100%, but what was important is that the builders could see all the details, all the, for example, the basement with the garage, all the foundations, all the holes which were needed for the installation, and so on. So this was the first time they were using 3D model at all at the building site, and they're really thrilled with it. So in the end, they ended up using the drawings just to check the measurements, but the whole 3D image and how it's supposed to look like, they used BIMx. And for the third project, something again totally different. Dominican monastery in the ancient city of Dubrovnik in Croatia. I'm certain you've heard about Dubrovnik. The Dominican monastery is inside of the old city, inside of the wall, protection walls. The task was to document the existing state, because the whole complex was being used by the Dominicans, as of course as a monastery, but also part was used as a university. So there were plans to refurbish it, to move the university from one part to the other, and use the other part of the complex, maybe for tourism, maybe for some other purposes. So they reached out to me as an BIM expert to suggest what would be the best way to do it. So we set up a workflow. Local guys were doing the 3D scanning, and I invited guys from BIM Point from Poland. Jurek Rusin, my dear colleague and friend, since I knew they were doing tons of very similar stuff, and they were really experts in that. So everything was scanned, and then point clouds were sent to the guys in Poland to do the modeling. So let me show you how it looks like. It's rather big, and I really like to show that project because it's very detailed and rather impressive. Uh, so let's go. This is the part where the textures are. That's the part of the Dominican monastery. The white parts are part of the old town of Dubrovnik. So let me go through the model a bit. As you can see, it's rather detailed even from the outside. But when you go in, you will see so many stuff, all the profiles and sculptures and so on. They were really modeled nicely. You see it also here. All the doors, all the reliefs and pillars, everything is there, rather detailed. Look from the outside. Of course, it was kind of scary when we were going on the building site. So they took us to the bell tower to take a look, and it was rather nice to go up, but a bit scary because there's really no railing. So you have to really pay attention. And of course, all the churches, all the bells. It took about 6 or 7 months to do all of this, so it was a lot of work, and it's big. It's about 25,000 square meters. And of course, it's not only about 3D models; it's about documentation. So all the drawings were generated from the 3D model. So there's tons of layouts. I'm not going to go through all of them, just to show you a little bit how it's done, and it was all generated directly from 3D. So these are not 2D adjusted. And of course, you can make different ways of presenting stuff. The 3D exploded view, it's always nice to show off how things look like and how they stack. Another drawing, this is the elevation. You've seen this entrance before. So you saw it in 3D, now you see it in 2D, and everything is there, of course. The floor plans. And of course, a bit more of 3D stacking, to name it in that way. And of course, the interior was totally modeled. You've seen some of it from the drawings. This is a very nice way to show how it works. And what I really like is with the new features of BIMx, with the setting the sun. So you get really nice shades and really lively views. I'm sure all of you have heard about the Game of Thrones, the series, and this is one of the places where they did the recording, so you might be familiar with that. And I will finish with this one. So as you have seen, it's three totally different projects, but BIMx was used for all of them. So in my opinion, there is not you can use basically BIMx for any kind of project you use. You don't have to you don't have to think about, is it too large, small. It just, if you want to use it, just use it. I mean, it's very simple to use and very efficient. Thank you. Back to you, Gordana.
Thank you, Marin, for this amazing examples. We really enjoyed it. Let me take over, share my screen, because I'm gonna now announce Roland Sabo. Feel free to ask questions, just another reminder, but you'll be, of course, able to post them also during the Q&A sessions. Roland Saab is coming from Graphisoft product team, and this is great opportunity to hear from Roland what are plans for BIMx and what are new features in the making. So Roland, it's your time.
Thank you, Gordana. I just share my screen. What you see here is the screen of the latest iOS application running on an iPad. And I'm going to talk first about functionality that Marin has already mentioned, the shadow casting, which have been released last year primarily to improve BIMx visual quality, be it aligned contrast, more vivid colors, and of course the real-time moving shadows. This version included shadow sun settings with a basic controls with horizontal and vertical movement. And based on customer feedback, we continued this project with date and time sun positioning. Based on Archicad's location settings, coordinates, time zone, and every location settings that you can give for a project. It shows you accurate sun positioning, so you can see the suns moving from sunrise to sunset. You can change the date from this date picker, change the months, and as you can see, BIMx aligns the sun positioning immediately. You can enable the summertime toggle to additional 1 hour daylight saving, and of course adjust the shadow intensity. The other part of this functionality is the location settings, which can be useful if the Archicad project has incorrect location settings. And you can also change the project north with the top view. And I recommend tracing, for example, a site plan to the 3D model so that you can set the angle appropriately. The other part of this feature is the connection to Archicad 27. I saved this hypermodel from the latest Archicad 27, so I used cameras just like Link presented, and the sun position is written to the cameras, and so this new function is integrated with the latest Archicad version. The other part is the favorite palette. So you can save favorite views with different time settings, and yeah, switch these parts in a presentation mode, or you can also save favorites with different shading options. You can add 2D layouts to the favorites, and this combination can also be added to the list of favorite items. The other Archicad 27 related functionality is the interactive labels. I will use this project to present this. And here I will open a section. And as you can see, in the settings menu, a third toggle appeared called labels, which creates an interactive rect on the element associated labels. This way you can access the element information without any workarounds. The other Archicad 27 related feature is the issue creation, which is was a top wish for many years for an annotation markup tool. And it's integrated also with Archicad 27 and a bit developed a version of the teamwork message, because it's based on BCF, BIM collaboration format. So if you have this issue and edited this issue with any markup and saved it, you can send it directly to Archicad, and this BCF-based issue can be imported to Archicad's issue organizer. So the benefit is that Archicad can import these issues, and this is a trackable system. The other benefit of the BCF format is that it is compatible with other BCF reader applications, so that you can export the issues not with the teamwork workflow, but with saving it locally, so other BCF readers can also import it. And let me grab the opportunity to talk about the Archicad 27 technology preview version, which has been introduced this Monday. So you can already access the latest Archicad version for testing. Feel free to register and test these new functionalities. The iOS application will automatically enable the previously presented features if the model has been exported from Archicad 27. And an additional sentence about the web and desktop viewers. We started rebuilding BIMx from the ground a few years ago, and this new, more powerful application enabled unlimited model size based on a completely new 3D engine. And this February, we released the web and desktop viewers based on this new 3D engine, which brought a more powerful 3D navigation, higher FPS numbers, so more smoother navigation. And the first update of this next generation application has been released on the Microsoft and Apple App Stores this Monday. So you can already install the latest desktop viewer from there. And the BIMx web viewer is also up to date on BIMx model transfer. So we continue this project to have all the BIMx functionality as unified as possible among all the platforms. So future updates will include the shadow casting, favorite saving, and presentation mode, and other currently mobile-only features in case of the web and desktop viewers. So feel free to ask any questions, and I will do my best to answer them. And now I will hand over the mic to Gordana to continue the BIMx challenge part. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Roland, for giving us new information about BIMx. You will have opportunity to talk to Roland and our BIMx product designer if your BIMx model gets selected on our Flex Your BIMx challenge. But more about this and other rules of the challenge and opportunities that come with that, we will hear from Rubia. Rubia, you can start.
Let me share my screen. Hopefully you can see my presentation now. Yes, so I am happy to bring the news about our community challenge. If you're not familiar with this section of Graphisoft community, it's an area that from time to time we propose you a challenge with related to our products, and we pick the most interesting creative entries. So this time it's focused on BIMx. So basically, if you have a BIMx file that you're proud of the outcome, you can submit it to us, and the prizes are really great. We have an Apple iPad Pro or equivalent Apple gift card, Graphisoft Learn vouchers, and an exclusive roundtable with the BIMx product manager, Roland Sabo, who we just saw, and the product designer, Zsolt Sarkadi. So we are open to submissions until August 20th. And it's really a great opportunity for you to share your work. Other community members can comment on it, and you still have the chance to win those prizes. So to participate, you just have to submit the link to your BIMx hypermodel or to a YouTube video presentation. We gave this option for a YouTube video because in some situations you might not be able to share the hypermodel due to privacy reasons. So you have this alternative. And if you opt for the sharing the link to the BIMx hypermodel, you have two ways of getting this URL. So you can publish the BIMx file directly from Archicad to our BIMx model transfer site. So you set the publisher set and the publishing method to upload to BIMx to upload the BIMx hypermodel. Make sure to set the visibility to public. And optionally, you can set the Archicad credits. It's always a good practice. And then you click OK, and the BIMx hypermodel will be uploaded to the site, and you can copy the URL. An alternative to achieve the same is that you publish your BIMx hypermodel locally on your computer, and then you access the website and upload it. So you can see these instructions in a more detailed manner in our challenge homepage. Everything is linked there. We have a course on the Learn portal as well that you can get introduced to BIMx after this presentation. I'm sure it will be a great help for those that are just getting started with it. We also have advanced course, and yeah, I hope to see your works in our gallery. It's fun for us to host those challenges. Back to Gotsa.
Thank you very much, Hubia. We really welcome all kinds of projects. For those of you who are very new to Archicad and BIMx, you can give it a chance, experiment, and try to submit on our challenge. Thank you, Rubia. Thank you all of you for joining us, and I hope that we have a new webinar opportunity very soon to see you again. Have a nice day.